Why do we cling to people who hurt us? Why do we hold on to relationships that drain us, rather than feed our soul? Maybe it's fear. Fear of being alone. Fear of change. Fear of breaking a bond that once felt safe. But here's the truth. Every time we ignore our own needs to keep someone else close, we abandon a part of ourselves. Seneca once said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." But how can we do that if we're afraid to let go of those who are pulling us down? In this video, we'll confront a question that demands courage. Are your relationships helping you grow or holding you back? And by the end, you'll have a clearer vision of what needs to stay and what you must release. Stay with me until the final insight. It might just change the way you see your connections forever. Chapter 1. When your emotions sabotage your relationships. Have you ever been angry at someone, but deep down you knew the anger wasn't really about them? Or stayed silent, hurt, hoping the other person would somehow guess what was going on inside you? These are emotional traps, and they quietly erode even the strongest relationships. Here's a difficult truth. Most relationships don't end because of a lack of love. They end because we don't know how to handle what we feel. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." In other words, the way we interpret and react to our emotions determines whether we destroy or strengthen the bonds we have. And yet, how often do we blame others for the storms we haven't learned to calm within ourselves? We lash out, we shut down, we accuse, when what we really need is to pause, reflect, observe. Stoicism teaches us this. Emotions are not the enemy, but being a slave to them is. It's not about suppressing what you feel. It's about mastering your response, choosing reason over impulse, clarity over chaos. Ask yourself, do you enter conversations already carrying a storm inside you? Do you expect others to fix the wounds you haven't tended to? Do you react, or do you respond? The difference might sound subtle, but it's everything. A reaction is automatic, raw, emotional. A response is conscious, considered, aligned with your values. And this is where personal power lies, in the space between what happens and what we choose to do next. Now imagine this. You're in a heated argument. The words are sharp, the emotions are boiling. But instead of attacking back, you breathe. You ground yourself. You ask, what is this really about? What am I feeling, and why? That moment of self-awareness? That's Stoic strength in action. Because here's what the Stoics knew. You cannot control other people, but you can control how you show up in every relationship. By mastering your emotions, you lead by example. You create space for trust, for real communication, for deeper connection. And when you do that, you stop sabotaging your relationships and start elevating them. Chapter 2. When the person you love makes you feel small. What do you do when the person who once made you feel safe now makes you question your worth? Not in obvious, explosive ways, but in subtle moments that accumulate like dust. A condescending glance, a laugh at your expense, a conversation where you speak but you're not truly heard. And slowly your voice, the one that once rang with clarity, becomes quieter, less sure. Your laughter doesn't come as easily. Your light feels dimmed. This is not love. It's erosion. Seneca warned us. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. But what happens when the reality is just as painful, and the imagination keeps trying to justify it? You begin to fantasize about who they could be. You remind yourself of how they used to treat you. You cling to the potential of the relationship like a life raft, ignoring the fact that it's full of holes. This is where Stoicism becomes more than philosophy. It becomes a compass. The Stoics didn't sugarcoat the truth. They believed that wisdom starts with perception, seeing things as they are, not as we wish they were. So ask yourself, do I feel seen in this relationship or merely tolerated? Am I expressing myself freely, or am I editing who I am to avoid conflict? Do I feel safe or careful? When love requires constant negotiation with your own self-respect, it's no longer love. It's performance. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. So what happens when being around someone constantly distorts your thinking? When you start to believe you're too much, too emotional, too sensitive, because they don't know how to hold space for your humanity. The truth is, real love does not shrink you. It expands you. It doesn't silence your voice. It tunes into it. But leaving isn't always easy, is it? There's fear. Fear of being alone. Fear of making the wrong choice. Fear of regret. And yet, the Stoics teach us that fear is a poor guide. We don't escape pain by avoiding discomfort. We just prolong the suffering. True strength is not staying where you're unseen. It's having the courage to walk away from what keeps you small. If someone loves you, they will never make you feel lesser to stay close. Love is not about shrinking to fit. It's about growing together. And if the only way to hold on to a relationship is to lose parts of yourself, maybe it's not you that needs to change. Maybe it's time to let go. Chapter 3. When you're more in love with the idea than the person. Have you ever found yourself defending someone, not because of what they've done, but because of who you believe they could become? You tell your friends, they have a good heart, they're just misunderstood. You remind yourself of a moment, maybe from years ago, when they were kind or soft or present. And you hold on to that memory like it's a promise, even when reality keeps showing you something different. This is how we become trapped in illusions. You don't just fall for the person. You fall for the version of them you carry in your imagination. The version who listens, who changes, who finally understands you. And every time they fall short, you don't walk away. You adjust your expectations. You compromise. You rationalize. But the truth is simple. You're more in love with what they could be than what they actually are. And that realization is painful, because it means facing the fact that the relationship you're fighting for might only exist in your mind. Epictetus taught, when someone irritates you, it is your own response that is to blame. But what if the person isn't just irritating you? What if they're hurting you, and you're still making excuses? Stoicism invites us to ask the hardest question of all. Am I seeing things as they are, or as I wish they were? Because illusions are seductive. They allow us to avoid loneliness. They feed our hope. They let us delay hard choices. But illusions also cost us something. They drain our energy. They delay our growth. And they quietly erode our self-worth. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. And one of the most radical ways we can reclaim that strength is by choosing to see people clearly, to stop romanticizing potential, to stop waiting for someone to become who we hope they'd be, to start honoring what's actually happening, not what we keep wishing will happen. This doesn't mean we stop loving. It means we start loving truthfully. Because real love isn't about clinging to fantasies. It's about meeting reality with open eyes and deciding who we want to be inside of it. So take a moment, breathe, ask yourself, are you in love with who they are now? Not who they used to be, not who they might become, but who they are today. If they never changed, if this version of them stayed forever, would that be enough? These aren't easy questions, but they are necessary ones. Because your peace is not something to gamble on potential. And your growth is not something to be postponed by hope. The Stoics weren't cold or heartless. They were realists who believed in facing life and love with courage. And sometimes courage means walking away from the illusion, so you can finally walk toward yourself. If this message is resonating with something inside you, don't let it stop here. Subscribe to the channel and continue your journey with us. Stoic wisdom has much more to offer, and so do you. Chapter 4, The Courage to Let Go. Embracing freedom through detachment. Letting go is one of the hardest things we will ever do. Not because we don't understand why we should, but because our hearts often lag behind our minds. We know something isn't working. We see the red flags, the emotional exhaustion, the lack of reciprocity. And still, we stay. We justify, we hope, we remember the good moments like sacred tapestries. But here's the truth. Sometimes the act of holding on is what's hurting you most. Why do we hold on so tightly to people, even when they become sources of pain? Fear. Fear of starting over. Fear of being alone. Fear of making the wrong decision. Fear that maybe this connection that now feels like a shadow of what it once was, is the best we'll ever get. This fear isn't irrational. It's deeply human. We are wired for connection, for belonging, for attachment. But the Stoics offer us a powerful and liberating perspective. Epictetus once said, when someone is properly grounded in life, they shouldn't have to look outside themselves for approval. That quote hits deep. Because often we stay in unfulfilling relationships not out of love, but out of a need for validation, comfort, or the illusion of security. The Stoics urge us to turn inward, to ask, is this relationship a reflection of my highest values? Or is it a compromise I've accepted out of habit or fear? Imagine you're in a small room. It's familiar. There's a chair, a lamp, a window that barely opens. You've been in this room for years. You've memorized every crack on the wall. But something inside you is suffocating. You need air, space, light. And just outside that room, there's an entire world. But to step into it, you have to open the door. You have to walk away from the familiar. You have to let go. That's what letting go of a toxic or stagnant relationship feels like. It's terrifying, but it's also the doorway to something new, something better. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." We can extend that idea. If it is not healthy, do not remain in it. A relationship that repeatedly disrespects your boundaries, exhausts your spirit, or suppresses your growth, that is not love. That is attachment masked as loyalty. Now, this doesn't mean that every conflict or difficulty warrants ending a relationship. Growth takes discomfort. Real connection demands effort. But when pain becomes the norm instead of the exception, when who you are begins to dim just to maintain peace, it's time to pause and ask, what am I sacrificing to stay? Letting go is not abandonment. It's not giving up. It's an act of self-honoring. It's choosing truth over illusion, peace over chaos, freedom over familiarity. You're not rejecting someone else. You're reclaiming yourself. Detachment in the Stoic sense doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging. You stop deriving your identity from someone else's validation. You stop allowing external circumstances to control your internal state. The moment you let go, you return to center, to your own breath, your own rhythm, your own truth. And yes, it will hurt. The ache of walking away from something you once cherished is real. Grief will visit, doubt will whisper, but so will relief, and clarity, and the quiet thrill of rediscovering your own power. Because on the other side of letting go is not emptiness. It's space. Space to heal, to evolve, to attract relationships that mirror your growth, not your wounds. So if you find yourself clutching a connection that no longer reflects who you are becoming, ask yourself, what would I gain by letting go? What kind of life could I create if I stopped trying to fix something that's no longer mine to fix? Seneca reminds us, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. The same applies to relationships. When we cling to what no longer serves us, we live in emotional poverty. Choose richness instead. Richness of spirit, richness of peace, richness of authenticity. You are not here to shrink to fit someone else's story. You are here to write your own. So open the door, step out of the room, breathe, and walk forward, not with regret, but with reverence for all you are becoming. Chapter 5, Building Resilient Connections. The Stoic Blueprint for Meaningful Relationships. In a world where relationships often flicker like candle flames in the wind, the quest for enduring, meaningful connections becomes paramount. How do we cultivate relationships that not only withstand the tempests of life but also enrich our journey? The Stoics, with their profound insights into human nature and virtue, offer timeless guidance on forging bonds that are both resilient and deeply fulfilling. The foundation of virtue. At the heart of Stoic philosophy lies the unwavering commitment to virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These aren't mere abstract ideals. They are actionable principles that serve as the bedrock for all interactions. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, emphasized, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This directive underscores the importance of embodying the virtues we seek in others. Before yearning for trustworthy friends or compassionate partners, we must first cultivate these qualities within ourselves. By becoming exemplars of virtue, we naturally attract those who resonate with similar values. The art of deep listening. In our fast-paced era, genuine listening has become a rare commodity. Yet, the Stoics recognized that understanding is the precursor to connection. Epictetus advised, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." True listening transcends the passive act of hearing words. It involves immersing oneself in the speaker's perspective, suspending judgments, and responding with empathy. This depth of engagement fosters trust and signals to others that their thoughts and feelings are valued. Embracing impermanence and non-attachment. While the desire for lasting relationships is natural, the Stoics remind us of the transient nature of all things. Seneca reflected, "What fortune has made yours is not your own." By acknowledging the impermanence of relationships, we can approach them with a sense of gratitude and presence, cherishing moments without the chains of possessiveness. This non-attachment doesn't equate to indifference but rather an appreciation free from the fear of loss. Setting boundaries with compassion. Healthy relationships are delineated by clear boundaries that honor individual autonomy. The Stoics champion self-mastery, understanding that one cannot control others but can govern one's own responses. Establishing boundaries is an act of self-respect and communicates to others the standards by which we wish to engage. When articulated with compassion, boundaries become bridges to mutual understanding rather than walls of division. The role of adversity in strengthening bonds. Challenges and disagreements are inevitable in any relationship. However, the Stoic perspective views adversity as an opportunity for growth. Marcus Aurelius noted, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Conflicts, when approached with a Stoic mindset, can deepen connections by fostering open communication, resilience, and mutual respect. They serve as crucibles, refining the relationship and revealing its true strength. Cultivating gratitude and presence. In the pursuit of future aspirations, it's easy to overlook the value of present relationships. The Stoics encourage mindfulness and gratitude for the present moment. By actively appreciating the individuals in our lives and expressing this gratitude, we reinforce bonds and create an environment where connection thrives. Conclusion. Building resilient connections is not about seeking perfection in others but about nurturing virtue within ourselves and approaching relationships with intentionality, empathy, and wisdom. The Stoic blueprint offers a path to relationships that are not only enduring but also deeply enriching, grounded in mutual respect and the shared pursuit of a virtuous life. Chapter 6, The Stoic Art of Forgiveness, Releasing Resentment for Inner Peace. Introduction. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones. Each stone represents a grudge, a past hurt, or a lingering resentment. With every step, the weight burdens you, slows you down, and drains your energy. Now, envision setting that backpack down, feeling the immediate relief and newfound lightness. This act symbolizes forgiveness, a conscious decision to release the weight of resentment and reclaim your inner peace. Understanding forgiveness through a Stoic lens. Forgiveness, from a Stoic perspective, is not about condoning harmful actions or forgetting injustices. Instead, it's about recognizing that holding on to anger and resentment only perpetuates our own suffering. The Stoics teach us that while we cannot control others' actions, we have complete authority over our responses. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reflects on human behavior. At the start of the day, tell yourself, "I shall meet people who are officious, ungrateful, abusive, treacherous, malicious, and selfish. In every case, they've got like this because of their ignorance of good and bad." This acknowledgement serves as a preparatory exercise, reminding us that encountering wrongdoing is an inevitable part of life. By understanding that others act out of ignorance or misguided judgments, we can cultivate compassion rather than resentment. The liberating power of forgiveness. Holding on to grudges is akin to drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. The Stoics advocate for releasing such toxic emotions to maintain our tranquility. Seneca wisely noted, "To avoid being angry with individuals, you must pardon the whole mass. You must grant forgiveness to the entire human race." By adopting a universal attitude of forgiveness, we free ourselves from the chains of bitterness and open the door to serenity. Practical steps to embrace forgiveness. Shift your perspective. Recognize that everyone is flawed and prone to mistakes. Viewing others' transgressions through this lens fosters empathy and reduces personal offense. Reflect on your own imperfections. Recall moments when you sought forgiveness for your own missteps. This humility can soften your heart towards others' faults. Focus on what you can control. While you cannot change others' actions, you can control your reaction. Choose responses that align with your values and promote inner peace. Release the desire for retribution. Understand that seeking revenge or holding on to anger does not rectify the past but prolongs your own suffering. Practice empathy. Attempt to understand the circumstances or motivations that led to the other person's actions. This doesn't excuse their behavior but can humanize them in your eyes. The role of forgiveness in personal growth. Forgiving others is not solely for their benefit but is a profound act of self-care. It allows you to reclaim emotional energy, redirect the energy spent on harboring resentment towards more constructive and fulfilling pursuits. Enhance relationships. Foster healthier interactions by letting go of past grievances and approaching relationships with a clean slate. Achieve inner peace. Experience a sense of liberation and tranquility that comes from releasing negative emotions. Conclusion. The Stoic art of forgiveness is a pathway to personal freedom and emotional well-being. By choosing to let go of resentment, you unburden yourself from the weight of past hurts and step into a space of peace and clarity. Remember, forgiveness is not about the other person's actions. It's about your decision to prioritize your serenity over prolonged suffering. Embrace this practice, and watch as it transforms your inner landscape, allowing you to navigate life with a lighter heart and a clearer mind. You're not alone on this path. There's a growing community of people just like you seeking clarity, peace, and purpose. Subscribe now and let's walk this Stoic journey together. Chapter 7, The Stoic Path to Contentment, Embracing Gratitude and Simplicity. Introduction. In our relentless pursuit of more success, more possessions, more recognition, we often find ourselves trapped in a cycle of perpetual dissatisfaction. The horizon of enough seems to recede as we advance, leaving us yearning and unfulfilled. The Stoics, ancient philosophers renowned for their practical wisdom, offer a timeless antidote, cultivating contentment through gratitude and simplicity. By shifting our focus from external acquisitions to internal appreciation, we can discover a profound sense of peace and fulfillment. The illusion of more. Modern society frequently equates happiness with abundance. We're conditioned to believe that accumulating wealth, status, or material goods will bridge the gap between our present state and true happiness. However, this mindset often leads to the hedonic treadmill, where each new acquisition only temporarily satisfies before giving way to new desires. The Stoics recognized this trap and advised a different approach. Epictetus +7 Orion Philosophy +7 Daily Stoic +7. Seneca, a prominent Stoic philosopher, observed, "It is not the man who has too little but the man who craves more that is poor." This insight reveals that poverty is not merely a lack of resources but a state of insatiable desire. True wealth, then, lies in contentment with what one already possesses. Gratitude as a daily practice. Gratitude is the practice of recognizing and appreciating the value of what we have in the present moment. It's a conscious acknowledgement of the good in our lives, irrespective of its magnitude. The Stoics believed that by regularly reflecting on our blessings, we can cultivate a mindset of abundance and reduce feelings of lack. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, advised, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." Orion Philosophy +1 Reddit +1. This simple morning reflection sets a tone of appreciation for the day, grounding us in the present and highlighting the inherent gifts of existence. The power of negative visualization. A unique Stoic technique to foster gratitude is negative visualization, premeditatio malorum. This involves contemplating the loss of the things and people we cherish, not to induce sorrow, but to deepen our appreciation for them. By imagining the absence of our comforts, relationships, or even life itself, we become more attuned to their value and less likely to take them for granted. TheStoicism.com +3 Real Simple +3 Time +3. Epictetus encouraged this practice. Begin each day by telling yourself, "Today I shall be meeting with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness, all of them due to the offender's ignorance of what is good or evil." By anticipating challenges and reflecting on potential losses, we not only prepare ourselves for adversity but also enhance our gratitude for the present stability and joys. Embracing simplicity. Simplicity is about stripping away the superfluous to focus on what truly matters. It's a deliberate choice to prioritize inner virtues over external validations. The Stoics taught that by minimizing our desires and detaching from the pursuit of excess, we can achieve a more tranquil and contented state of mind. Seneca articulated this principle. No person has the power to have everything they want, but it is in their power not to want what they don't have, and to cheerfully put to good use what they do have. The search for wisdom. This perspective empowers us to find joy and utility in our current circumstances, reducing the constant yearning for more. Practical steps to cultivate gratitude and simplicity. Daily reflection. Set aside time each day to reflect on the things you're grateful for. This could be through journaling or silent contemplation. Negative visualization. Periodically meditate on the loss of certain aspects of your life to heighten appreciation for them. Mindful consumption. Before making new purchases or commitments, assess whether they align with your true needs or are driven by fleeting desires. Declutter your space. Simplify your environment by removing items that no longer serve a purpose, promoting a sense of order and focus. Set boundaries on media consumption. Limit exposure to advertisements and social media that may fuel unnecessary desires and comparisons. Conclusion. The Stoic path to contentment is paved with gratitude and simplicity. By consciously appreciating what we have and minimizing superfluous desires, we cultivate an inner richness that external circumstances cannot diminish. This approach not only leads to personal tranquility but also fosters a deeper connection with the world around us. In embracing the Stoic virtues of gratitude and simplicity, we unlock the door to a truly contented life. Chapter 8, Anchored in Illusion. The cost of not seeing things as they are. One of the most profound threats to our emotional well-being isn't the events that unfold around us, but the illusions we choose to embrace. Often we're not in love with a person but with the idea of who they might become. We're not attached to reality, we're attached to a version of the story that offers us comfort, hope, or a sense of security. However, the hard truth remains: illusions are comforting lies. Clinging to them doesn't shield us, it ensnares us. The nature of illusions. Illusions are seductive. They offer a refuge from the harshness of reality, painting over the cracks with hopeful narratives and idealized visions. We craft these illusions not out of malice, but from a deep-seated desire to see the world, and the people in it, as we wish them to be rather than as they are. This tendency is particularly evident in our relationships. We project our desires, hopes, and dreams onto others, molding them into the characters we want in our life story. Yet, this act of projection blinds us to their true selves, leading to misunderstandings and unmet expectations. The cost of self-deception. When we idealize someone, we cease to see them for who they truly are. Red flags become mere decorations, hurtful behaviors are rationalized, and our own needs are sidelined in the pursuit of maintaining the illusion. But what is the cost of this self-deception? Often, it's our peace, our self-worth, and our capacity for genuine growth. By investing in a false narrative, we set ourselves up for inevitable disappointment when reality fails to align with our fantasies. Stoic insights on truth and illusion. The Stoics were acutely aware of the dangers of self-deception. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, emphasized the importance of seeking truth. If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change. For I seek the truth by which no one was ever truly harmed. This insight underscores a vital principle. While truth may be uncomfortable, it is ultimately liberating. In contrast, illusions, though comforting in the short term, lead to prolonged suffering. By confronting reality head-on, we align ourselves with the natural order and cultivate inner peace. The role of self-reflection. To navigate the treacherous waters of illusion, self-reflection becomes not just beneficial but essential. We must regularly question our motivations and the narratives we construct. Are we in this relationship because it genuinely nurtures us, or because we're afraid of facing solitude? Reddit. Are we attempting to heal past wounds through others, or are we seeking genuine connection? Without such introspection, we risk perpetuating cycles of pain, continuously casting ourselves in roles like the fixer, the caretaker, or the hopeful redeemer. While these roles may seem noble, they often divert us from addressing our own needs and hinder our personal growth. Embracing reality with courage. Stoicism teaches us to embrace reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. Epictetus, a former slave turned esteemed philosopher, wisely noted, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." This highlights the perils of clinging to preconceived notions. When we're entrenched in our fantasies, we close ourselves off to learning and growth. By letting go of illusions, we open the door to genuine understanding and meaningful relationships. The liberation of letting go. Releasing our grip on illusions isn't about becoming cynical or detached. It's about choosing clarity over comfort, reality over fantasy. It's a declaration: I choose to see things as they are, even if it challenges me. This act of courage fosters self-respect and paves the way for authentic connections. When we engage with others based on their true selves, rather than our idealized versions, we cultivate relationships rooted in honesty and mutual respect. Practical steps to dissolve illusions. Mindful observation. Pay close attention to your thoughts and feelings. Are they based on reality or wishful thinking? Seek external perspectives. Engage with trusted friends or mentors who can offer objective insights into your situations. Educate yourself. Delve into Stoic literature and other philosophical works that emphasize the importance of truth and self-awareness. Practice acceptance. Embrace the present moment and its realities, recognizing that acceptance is the first step toward meaningful change. Set boundaries. Establish clear boundaries in relationships to ensure that you honor your true self and not just an illusionary role. Conclusion. In the end, confronting the truth may unsettle us, but it will never shatter us. Illusions, on the other hand, have the power to confine and diminish our spirit. As the Stoics remind us, we are not harmed by the truth, we are liberated by it. By shedding our illusions and embracing reality, we step into a life of authenticity, resilience, and profound inner peace. Chapter 9, The Veil of Self-Deception. Unmasking our greatest adversary. Self-deception is a subtle adversary, often masquerading as comfort or self-assurance. It's the internal narrative that convinces us of truths we wish to believe, even when evidence suggests otherwise. This internal misguidance can lead us astray, causing us to act against our best interests and hindering our personal growth. Understanding self-deception. At its core, self-deception involves convincing oneself of a reality that aligns with personal desires or fears, rather than objective truth. It's a psychological mechanism that allows individuals to avoid confronting uncomfortable realities or truths about themselves. This can manifest in various ways, such as rationalizing poor decisions, denying personal flaws, or attributing failures to external factors beyond one's control. The Stoic perspective on self-deception. The Stoics were acutely aware of the perils of self-deception. They recognized that the human mind has a propensity to construct narratives that serve the ego, often at the expense of truth. Marcus Aurelius, in his Reflections, emphasizes the importance of seeking objective reality over comforting illusions. He advises, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth, by which no one was ever truly harmed." This underscores the Stoic commitment to truth as a pathway to genuine well-being. The mechanisms of self-deception. Understanding how self-deception operates is crucial to overcoming it. It often begins with a desire to maintain a positive self-image or to avoid cognitive dissonance, the psychological discomfort experienced when holding two or more contradictory beliefs or values. To alleviate this discomfort, individuals might selective attention, focusing only on information that confirms existing beliefs, while ignoring evidence to the contrary. Modern Stoicism. Rationalization, justifying questionable behaviors or decisions with seemingly logical reasons, even if these justifications are flawed. Projection, attributing one's own undesirable feelings or traits onto others, thereby deflecting self-scrutiny. Denial, refusing to acknowledge uncomfortable facts or realities, effectively blocking them from conscious awareness. The consequences of self-deception. The ramifications of self-deception are profound. By distorting reality, individuals hinder their ability to make informed decisions, leading to repeated mistakes and stagnation. Relationships suffer when honesty is compromised as trust is eroded. Moreover, personal growth is stunted when one refuses to confront and address personal shortcomings. The Stoics believed that living in alignment with truth is essential for achieving eudaimonia, a state of flourishing and fulfillment. open.metu.edu.tr. Cultivating self-awareness to combat self-deception. Overcoming self-deception requires a commitment to self-awareness and introspection. The Stoics advocated for regular self-examination to ensure one's thoughts and actions align with virtue and reality. Practices to cultivate this awareness include daily reflection, setting aside time each day to review one's actions, decisions, and the motivations behind them. This practice helps identify patterns of self-deception and areas for improvement. Seeking feedback, engaging with trusted friends or mentors who can provide objective perspectives on one's behavior and thought processes. Mindfulness meditation, developing a mindfulness practice to become more attuned to one's thoughts and emotions, recognizing when they are influenced by bias or desire. Embracing discomfort, being willing to confront uncomfortable truths and accept criticism without defensiveness, viewing them as opportunities for growth. The role of virtue in dispelling self-deception. For the Stoics, virtue is the highest good and the foundation of a fulfilling life. Living virtuously requires an unwavering commitment to truth and integrity. By prioritizing virtue over comfort or ego, individuals can more readily acknowledge and address their self-deceptions. This alignment with virtue fosters resilience, as one becomes less susceptible to the whims of external circumstances and internal distortions. Conclusion. Self-deception is a formidable barrier to personal growth and authentic living. By understanding its mechanisms and committing to practices that cultivate self-awareness and virtue, we can begin to unmask the illusions we create. The Stoic philosophers provide timeless wisdom, reminding us that confronting truth, no matter how uncomfortable, is essential for achieving genuine fulfillment and inner peace. Chapter 10, The Mirror of the Mind, Reflecting on Self-Deception. Imagine standing before a mirror that distorts your reflection, subtly altering your appearance without your awareness. This is the nature of self-deception, an internal distortion of reality that convinces us of falsehoods, often to protect our ego or avoid discomfort. Recognizing and confronting these distortions is essential for personal growth and authentic living. The subtle art of self-deception. Self-deception operates quietly, often masquerading as rationalization or justification. It's the voice that tells us we're not procrastinating but waiting for the right moment, or that our harsh words were merely constructive criticism. These narratives shield us from uncomfortable truths, allowing us to maintain a favorable self-image. However, this protective mechanism comes at a cost. It blinds us to our shortcomings and impedes genuine self-improvement. Stoic insights on self-deception. The Stoic philosophers were acutely aware of the dangers posed by self-deception. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, asserted, "Nothing is more hostile to a firm grasp on knowledge than self-deception." This highlights the Stoic belief that truth is foundational to wisdom, and deceiving oneself is a significant barrier to attaining it. Reddit +2 Mindfulness Exercises +2 Orion Philosophy +2. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reflects on the importance of seeking truth. "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth, by which no one was ever truly harmed." Goodreads. This openness to correction underscores the Stoic commitment to self-examination and the pursuit of objective reality. The mechanisms fueling self-deception. Understanding the mechanisms behind self-deception is crucial for dismantling it. Common processes include confirmation bias, prioritizing information that aligns with our existing beliefs while disregarding contradictory evidence. Rationalization, creating seemingly logical reasons to justify behaviors or beliefs that may be flawed. Denial, refusing to acknowledge uncomfortable facts or realities. Projection, attributing our own undesirable traits or feelings onto others. These cognitive distortions serve as defense mechanisms, protecting us from the discomfort of facing our imperfections but simultaneously hindering our growth. The consequences of self-deception. The repercussions of self-deception are far-reaching. By distorting reality, we make decisions based on false premises, leading to ineffective actions and potential harm. Relationships may suffer as we fail to acknowledge our faults or misunderstand others. Moreover, personal development stalls when we are unwilling to confront and address our limitations. The Stoics believed that living in harmony with truth is essential for achieving eudaimonia, a state of flourishing and fulfillment. Stoic practices to overcome self-deception. The Stoics advocated several practices to combat self-deception. Daily self-reflection, engaging in regular introspection to assess one's actions and thoughts. Seneca emphasized the importance of this practice, suggesting that we examine our conscience daily. Seeking honest feedback, inviting constructive criticism from trusted individuals to gain external perspectives on our behavior and beliefs. Negative visualization, contemplating potential challenges and adversities to prepare the mind and reduce the shock of unforeseen events. This practice fosters resilience and diminishes the likelihood of self-deception in the face of difficulties. Mindfulness and present awareness, staying attuned to the present moment to observe one's thoughts and emotions without judgment, allowing for recognition of self-deceptive patterns. Embracing the uncomfortable truth. Confronting self-deception requires courage and humility. It involves acknowledging that our perceptions may be flawed and being willing to adjust our beliefs and behaviors accordingly. This process is not about self-criticism but about striving for authenticity and growth. As Epictetus advised, it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. Conclusion. Self-deception is a formidable obstacle on the path to self-improvement and wisdom. By adopting Stoic practices of self-reflection, seeking truth, and embracing reality, we can begin to dismantle the illusions we create. This journey demands vigilance and honesty but leads to a more authentic and fulfilling life. Chapter 11, The Art of Perception. Seeing Through the Lens of Truth. Introduction. Have you ever questioned the accuracy of your own perceptions? Our minds often craft narratives that feel true but may be far from reality. This chapter explores how our perceptions can deceive us and how adopting a Stoic approach can help us align more closely with the truth. The fallibility of human perception. Human perception is inherently subjective, shaped by personal experiences, emotions, and biases. Two individuals can witness the same event yet interpret it differently. This subjectivity can lead to misunderstandings and flawed judgments. The Stoics recognized this and emphasized the importance of scrutinizing our perceptions. Epictetus advised practicing discernment with our impressions, reminding us that they are not always as they appear. Stoic practices for refining perception. To cultivate a more accurate perception of reality, the Stoics recommended several practices. Objective observation. Approach situations with a neutral mindset, setting aside personal biases. This allows for a clearer understanding of events as they are, not as we wish them to be. Mindfulness of judgments. Be aware of the judgments you attach to your perceptions. Recognize that these judgments are separate from the events themselves and can color your understanding. Seeking diverse perspectives. Engage with others to gain different viewpoints. This can illuminate aspects of a situation you may have overlooked and challenge your assumptions. Continuous learning. Acknowledge that your current understanding is limited. Commit to lifelong learning to expand your awareness and refine your perceptions. The role of emotions in perception. Emotions can significantly distort our perceptions. Fear, anger, and desire can lead us to see situations not as they are but as we feel them to be. The Stoics taught that by achieving emotional equilibrium, we can perceive events more clearly. This doesn't mean suppressing emotions but rather understanding and managing them so they don't cloud our judgment. Conclusion. Perception is a powerful tool that shapes our reality. By adopting Stoic practices to refine our perceptions, we move closer to seeing the world as it truly is. This clarity enables us to navigate life with wisdom, make sound decisions, and cultivate inner peace, fostering better relationships and decision-making. This practice empowers us to live in accordance with reason and virtue, the hallmarks of Stoic philosophy. Have you ever wondered why, even surrounded by people, you sometimes feel alone? The truth is, it's not about how many people are around you, but about the quality of those connections. Throughout this journey, we explored how harmful relationships can subtly erode our peace, how negative emotions poison what could be meaningful, and how illusions, our hopes and projections, can trap us in cycles of disappointment. But we also discovered something deeper, that peace is not a gift others give us, it's a choice we must make for ourselves. Seneca taught that a wise person is content with themselves. Marcus Aurelius reminded us to never value anything as profitable that compels you to break your word, lose your self-respect, or hate any man. In the end, the Stoics didn't just give us philosophy, they gave us tools. Tools to reflect, to detach from illusions, to protect our inner citadel. Let this be your invitation. Reflect on who truly brings peace into your life. Reclaim the power to say no to what drains you. And most of all, choose reality, choose clarity, and choose yourself. Because the greatest act of love is to protect your peace. If this message resonated with you, share your thoughts in the comments. What relationship in your life are you finally ready to see clearly? If this video helped you see things differently, imagine what's still ahead. Each week we go deeper into timeless Stoic lessons that can reshape the way you think, act, and live. So hit subscribe and be part of what's coming next. We're just getting started. And before you go, watch this next video. It's handpicked to help you deepen your journey with Stoic wisdom.